latest trend. We talk it out from end to end. And if you've got something to share, pick up the phone, turn it up. Real FM, ride the frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that's real. With Francis Pierre, turn it up.
Says, welcome to our program On Target. We never have a subject matter. You have the opportunity to intervene, to speak on any issue trending. A lot of issues trending now. From Madagascar, where you have a coup d'etat, to Donald Trump was in Israel and addressed the Knesset. He's on his way to Egypt. So you have activities all over the world. Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and others have signed some free movement of people. And in Grenada here, we have our own issues. So you could contribute, participate, ask questions, no rules. We encourage you to punch and be respectful. The number to call is 442-0175. We will read some of your contributions on social media. And you could disturb us in the middle of a sentence. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good day to Mr. Pierre and the listening audience of Target.
You have the new ball.
One of the most informative program on Real FM these days. I will say we never have a dull moment in this country for the longest while. We never have a dull moment. But before we go on to the heated topic of the day, probably, I don't know, Mr. Pierre, if you could answer us. We have some people call themselves the movement. I don't know, movement to what? Led by Peter David. I don't know if you could tell us. Who's the real advisor? Who's the real people who is guiding this movement? Because I want to say to this movement, the people of Montrich, Tivoli, and all the areas, don't forget. So we're going to our grave, we can't forget what we go through. So in that light, I would like to know who really is advising this movement.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Before I close, I would like to also say, now is the time. Grenada needs leadership. Grenada needs strong leadership because of the latest crisis, because of the latest development. That's where leaders prove themselves. I heard some, as Mr. Pierre called them, politico of the NDC, taking this present climate as a joke and making all kind of puppy show. I want to say this is not an NDC matter. This is Grenada. We don't need to divide our nation at this time. We want to say to our leader, now is it not the time to divide Grenada. Although he preaching division, although he create division in this country, I know the time will come when we have to go beyond division and he have to come back to the people of this country and hear their views. I rest my case at this time. Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, Chief. Well, I heard you ask about division, but Deacon Mitchell have a policy of division. It is the first time in the history of Grenada that the line of demarcation is so marked that you have a leader that have a policy of dividing the people. He said the only reason NNP is getting assistance is because he don't know who the real yellow is. Some of his supporters been asking, let them starve and let them pound stone in the river. And no member of the NDC have disassociated themselves with that. So that party policy is one of division. And the next question you ask is about the movement. I always believe in studying leaders. I take the leaders of a political party very seriously because political parties and political leaders have power. They go in parliament and they pass laws. They represent you at the international arena. They sign documents on your behalf. Sometimes you don't have a clue what they sign. So since I see somebody have the potential to lead a political party, I start studying them. The present name that is associated with Peter David, I don't think he is in charge of the political party. I think Peter is being used. Peter seems to be a nice fella. If you ask people about Peter, they go say Peter is a nice fella and he's a good fella. But Peter David has backed down from any controversial issues in the country. Peter hides. And I'm a firm believer that when somebody have leadership, it makes a difference. All eyes turn to them. If somebody invade a house in the night, bandit come in the house in the night, mommy go and grab the fire. She was in the kitchen. She grabbed the frying pan. Children have broom. Daddy gone on the bed, a gun under the bed. When that incident is over, is a lot of laughter. But all the children in the house, the neighbors and the friends are disappointed in daddy. In times of crisis, daddy hides. Peter David always hides. Every time we had a serious challenge in Grenada, Peter David hides. I asked repeatedly about the Angola option. The 4.5 years of the revolution, we experienced the worst crimes in Grenada after slavery and colonialism. Maurice Bishop evoked the Angola option. And I asked Peter David, tell us about the Angola option. They say Maurice Bishop died because principle is principle. No. Bishop died because he evoked the Angola option. Every controversial issue, Peter David hid. I don't know if Peter David took vaccine publicly. I know he did because he traveled. I know Keith Mitchell, Mr. Steele, Emmeline Pierre, the Governor General, a number of them took vaccine publicly. That was one of the worst crises that we face in the Caribbean with over 100 years. Decisions had to be made. Some people are a lot of doubt on the vaccine. The government of the day, and rightly so, took the position of the reputable medical organization in the World Health Organization, PAHO, CARPHA, and the doctors in Grenada. The politicians say, we going with what they say. The NDC was against vaccine publicly. There was a going around and encouraging people not to take it. They encouraged jab to play mass. 14 people from the elderly home in St. Patrick's died. One man over 70. When he see people dying, so he run. He run. Up to now, they don't go and look for him. They're going to look for him. Some women go and look for him. They ain't get him. The police never bother. Peter David was silent. He did not publicly encourage people to take vaccine. I have never seen any picture that he took vaccine publicly. No leader supposed to hide in controversial issues. Maurice Bishop abstained. When the issue of joint leadership comes in, Maurice Bishop abstained. 3 persons voted against it. And I think 10, 11, and 12 supported it. So obviously, wrong and right, democratic centralism, that is what the communists and the extreme and the left believe should reign. Maurice Bishop evoked the Angola option. Peter David was in parliament. When you had a walkout by the minister, the opposition leader then led a walkout of parliament because of grossly unfair treatment in the House. The Speaker of the House called for the presenter of the budget to close the debate. And he started it. And then he was stopped. And I understand they went in a caucus. And all of them agree he must continue. And when he started again, the Speaker of the House stopped him because the Prime Minister that was hiding throughout the whole debate wanted to close the debate. Peter David stayed silent. When the Prime Minister then fired low blow at the opposition leader, 100 years after women were franchised, Grenada was franchised 100 years. In the United States, it was 110. The Prime Minister then was calling the Speaker of the House mother hen and chicken, evoking Maurice Bishop's insulting statement to Eugenia Charles and Tom Adams. Peter David was the most senior in the House. He had to speak. He was bound and compelled to speak if he wanted to lead anything. He stayed silent. Dick Mitchell even poked fun at him. He had to show his maturity and his leadership skill and ask the Speaker of the House for the minister to take back the statement. Peter remained silent. During the period of the referendum, Peter David is a lawyer. The Bar Association generally remains silent. Francis Alexis and Ruggles Ferguson led the case, and Peter David's voice was not strong enough. After the election, immediately after the election, we saw the uncalled for and unnecessary attack on the elderly and the physically challenged. And I did not hear Peter David's voice strong enough. So I believe Peter is a good person. He's a likable person. and is a front. He's been used. Based upon the information we are hearing, Ewart Lane is the true leader of the movement. And I have no reason to doubt. During the revolution, during 1979 to 1983, I had many a dialogue with close members of the revolution. Some of them was drivers of Bernard Code. Some of them were drivers of Maurice Bishop. Some of them were senior members of the Central Committee. I had casual conversation with them on a number of occasions. And I found out Ewart Lane was not the man to joke with. Ewart Lane was the man really in charge. When Hudson Austin was told the time has come, you have to take a side, and he was hesitating to make up his mind, it was Ewart Lane that sent his team, I understand, to give him to read the announcement, to read the release on radio. He has never read it before. And at that time, there was instruction. So Ewart Lane is a significant figure in the revolution. He was the main McCoy. When Maurice Bishop was accused of being a womanizer, a petty bourgeois, and lazy, Ewart Lane was the little master. So I verily believe that the true leader of the movement is Ewart Lane. Peter David is a front because it is easy for the public to accept Peter David. They won't accept Ewart Lane. In the same way, when they wanted joint leadership, they was well aware that Maurice Bishop was charismatic. He was a likable person, and he was the person the public would accept. Yes, Scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, Scholar, welcome.
So I just want to ask you, I want you to respond, I want your opinion on the current request by the United States to put some radar input points at the airport. I want your comment on that. But over this weekend, we had Chester Humphrey and a few people from the Caribbean, Trinidad, Guyana on the Bob Report, and they were having a dialogue over this matter. It seems to me that matter, and then I understand that beyond the headlines, it seems to be that there's a big national issue in Grenada at this time. Very big national issue. But what interests me is that I just saw Peter David made a statement, and stand the leader of the opposition. No, I'm not hearing the government except a press release. The government talk about let the people's voice be heard. And I'm wondering, where's the Prime Minister? Why the government is so silent? No, I think that Chester Humphrey is the Prime Minister of Grenada now. Because he's the one we are hearing his perspective, his reason behind why he think that the Grenada government should not accede to the requests of the United States. No, but I am not hearing not even one minister saying anything. They're not on no calling program, there's no talk show, but yet they talk about democracy. and let the people voice be heard. Right? And putting people first. I mean, it's not. I think Chester should be appointed the Prime Minister of Grenada. That's my honest belief. Because he is saying we should bring civil society together, demonstrate our position. Where the hell is the Prime Minister? Now, Mr. Pierre, I have no issue with the perspective of anyone. And I suspect, based on the press release, it smells like if they have already agreed to the request. But whatever position the government take, I want to hear the reason behind it. So if the Prime Minister or if the NDC saying they are agreeing to it, they have a responsibility to explain to the population why they're taking that decision. It may be unpopular, it may be popular. There are some people for it, or some people against it. Whatever position the government takes, they owe the population to hear why, the reasoning behind it. That is all I want to know.
Yes, Scott.
But all the talk show around the Caribbean now, you hear Chester Humphrey? No government minister, not one. And they are experts on communication. They say that the Prime Minister is very good in communicating. Maybe we only should know. We should only get what we need to know.
Yes,
But
Scholar.
I'm
Thank you.
very concerned.
Thank you, Scholar. You see, that's the challenge. I said more than 2 years ago, Dickens is a fake and a master deceiver. But when he is cornered, he wants to hide behind NNP. All of a sudden, they're interested in what NNP have to say. Kit Mitchell reach out to Dickens. Kit Mitchell a man win election on 3 occasions, winning all the seats. The people in the foreign mission, perhaps for the last 20 years, the majority of them have been selected by Kit Mitchell. Because during 2008, 2013, the NDC didn't make any big reshuffling with the people in foreign affairs. You as a political neophyte, you come, you say the man old. He reached out to you on very many occasions. You reject it. Gregory Boyne reached out to you. You reject it. You fire in a most unceremonious way the people in the foreign mission. You had a third party dictating foreign affairs. Now you are cornered by the United States. You hiding. You're a coward. Dick Mitchell is a coward. Grenada have had a coward before. Maurice Bishop was a coward. He hid behind women and children. And when he had a fundamental decision to make about joint leadership, he abstained. And he ran to Castro and he evoked the Angola option. Now we see these people beating up their chest. The RSS. Guyana joined the RSS in 2022. Why Guyana joined it? The RSS is not the regional security unit or something, a service. Who in charge of the RSS? There is another organization, all of them involved in. You beating your chest for the Americans. And then you go and eat humble pie crap. You abandon the Cubans. After you claim that Cuba have the best healthcare system in the world and the most doctors per capita, you go and get Polaris. Yes, caller, welcome.
Welcome to you, my dear brother. I don't know what the topic
Good
is
to hear
today,
your
but
voice,
keep
man.
Say it again.
Good to hear your voice. It's always a breath of
Yes, sir.
fresh air, whether it's in the rum shop or on the radio.
I am blushing. I miss you in the rum shop because we always lend our voice to whatever issue that's trending in Grenada.
Sometimes when I reach a
Whether it
place,
is
they say you
politics,
pass.
yeah, whether it is politics, whether it's religion, sports, or whatever. And strange enough, you and I always have an opinion.
We hunt down the discussion to talk about what
Right,
trending.
right. Well, speaking of what's trending, let's talk briefly on the request by the United States of America to, to Grenada to place some military equipment or hardware or whatever for whatever reason. My take on that, we should not even hesitate to say yes. And I say so because it's in our best interest, in our national interest. But one of the things that we must do, we must have a shopping list of things that we want in return. And my proposal, if I were the Prime Minister, my proposal be number one, I want annual grant aid of $1 billion. I'm asking for a visa-free entry to the United States for Grenadians. I'm asking for amnesty for Grenadians living illegally in the United States and hiding from ISIS. I want them to have to have some kind of immunity, especially those on Facebook that running them out and can't come back to Grenada. I want amnesty for them so they could come home and see what's happening. I want them to remove the visa restrictions on Cornwall immediately. I want them to lift the ban on the fishing. I want them to regularize the state of the postal corporation so that people in Soubise, Munich, and all over Grenada can ship their foreign, the sorrel, the sea moss,
The honey.
the shadow benny, the lemongrass, all the people doing the small cottage industry that doing the tamban ball and send it to the United States. I want America to regularize the state of the postal corporation, and we ship in small packages again. We can't say yes and don't get nothing. Remember, America came here in 1983. President Reagan, and he stood up before all the boys and them, and then he said, "Ask me for what you want," and they did not get nothing. We can't make that same mistake twice, bro. Now, looking at Venezuela, you know the Caribbean leaders over the years have betrayed the people. And I say so because Venezuela is a state that have problems with all the neighbors. Colombia, Suriname, Belize, Guyana, Grenada, and Dominica. And let me go into details on Grenada. They set up something called Petro-Caribbean and through the Alba Bank. And they're giving these islands oil and gas on credit, and they say it could take 25 years to pay. But what Venezuela is not doing, they are not coming to the table to discuss our maritime boundaries. Venezuela, Iran, North Korea are three states that have not signed on to the United Nations Convention for the Laws of the Sea, something we call UNCLOS. And therefore, Venezuela is claiming all the waters on the Point Salid, all the resources in the continental shelf. They're claiming the island of Dominica,
Border Island.
border island. Now, I know a foreign minister in Grenada, and I'm not going to call his name,
Ah,
a
Mama
former
Pool.
foreign minister.
Oh.
And he have close ties to Venezuela. They could fly from Grenada, go to Dominica, and take a helicopter from Dominica and fly to Margarita, pick up six million US dollars, and come back to Grenada and campaign and win an election for the party. But the same foreign minister, former foreign minister, he cannot whisper in Modera ears that Grenada needs to know where its boundaries lies. We must establish our exclusive economic zone. And so far, Venezuela is hindering that process. So don't mind all the houses that they're building here. All the oil they're giving us on credit. Unless they come to the table and establish maritime boundaries, we are at undeclared war with Venezuela, and that needs to be regularized. So I'm not urging America I'm not and wishing that America should invade Venezuela. But if there's a regime change, and the new regime in Venezuela agree to UNCLOS, the United Nations Convention with the Laws of the Sea, and they accept the formula laid out by the United Nations, where they say that the resources of the sea between two nations must be divided based on your landmass. So just like we did with Trinidad got the lion's share because of the size. We have no problem with Venezuela getting the lion's share of the resources. But we must know where our boundaries lie so that future generations, just like Guyana become an instant wealthy nation. And for years, Venezuela was threatening them in Essequibo. They couldn't drink for oil there. They took Venezuela to the International Court. They won. And even when they won, Venezuela refused to adhere to the outcome of the decision of the court and threatening to invade Guyana. Today, Guyana drilling for oil. And we're praying that someday, with a friendly government in Venezuela, not one that giving us this and giving us handouts, but one that will come to the table and establish our boundaries. What you say? What say you, bro?
In full agreement with you, my brother. And that is
All
where
right.
our leaders, they speak with forked tongue. And they mustn't hide the truth from our people.
They hiding the truth.
They hiding the truth. I know they cannot.
Yeah.
I have no pity and no sympathy for them, but they cannot.
Well, that is my position.
Yes, man.
And you know what is sad about it? The Grenadian people are left in the dark.
Yeah,
Because both sides are hiding and they're lying. They're not telling the people the truth.
information.
You're getting a little oil and 100 houses from Venezuela. In the meantime, they're blocking you from drilling for oil. Look at where Grenada is. Look at Venezuela. Look at Trinidad. And why can't we have the same right like Guyana? No, Venezuela would not allow it. But they are prepared to give you oil and concessionary too. My brother, I end there for now.
Thank you, my brother. And the CARICOM countries did not support Guyana. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Doc.
Yes, my brother.
And great Michael Battis.
Yes, man.
That was one of my ministers who tried to help me, but one of his subordinates stood in the way. So Michael is a good guy, yeah? But you see, color has a lot to do with management, right? And a lot to do with leadership, okay? So sometimes we take position based on that, the color of the man and the economic abilities of the man. So they press it down. So I think Mr. Battis did so from that. Now, I always have to give you credit, sir. Because I said I listened to you for quite some time, sometimes without saying anything. But you are one of the smart guys in Grenada. Yeah? I don't see anything you said on this television station, right, that is wrong as it relates to our survival, our development. You're always on point. Leadership is the problem. Now, I heard Mr. Battis for a little while. And if we have conventions, and we have the United Nations, and we have the Security Council, and these bodies, and you have the law or the laws of the sea. In law, there is position that the supreme law will have to take full responsibility like the United Nations. So if Guyana or Venezuela is given trouble, you bring it to the International Court of Justice through the United Nations, and they will take a position to run the boundaries based on your landmass. Venezuela can't do anything. If you go to surveillance and your neighbor is giving you a problem, you have two chances. First chance, they reject it. You call the police. Second chance, you call back the police to stand there and to ensure that it's done. And they could do nothing about that. I don't think it is different with the laws of the sea. The laws of the sea equal to the laws of the land. So if the United Nations or that body that oversees all other laws, why is Venezuela given this problem? I think it's a question of leadership. We just have weak leadership in the Caribbean. Very weak leadership. I can't say it, I can't put my mouth in body to say it. We have weak leadership. I don't care who they are over the years. We don't take a position to represent our people, and that's why those things are happening. We have a constitution, bad as it might be. Yet we cannot use our constitution to represent our people. Countries will force us to break our constitution that we see sacrosanct for their own interest. Remember, a few years ago, a company in Grenada searched our Prime Minister on the airport, searched him. A company doing business in Grenada searched our Prime Minister, the Honorable Tillman Thomas.
And he was Minister of Security.
And I think I was the only person who came and to defend the gentleman and said, no, this thing should never happen. You have to pull the license from these people and let them go.
But the man was Minister of Security.
Yes. So how did we allow that to happen? So our leaders are creating the problem. When we, the citizens, talk, they think they're brighter than us.
Yeah.
So they don't listen. You represent us, and you have to listen to us. And when these tight corners come, you just cannot take unilateral decision. You have to come to the people. And the majority of people say, no, it is no. There is no going around it. So this thing about the oil that Mr. Battis is talking about, if we want to carry the bombs, we'll get it. The leaders have to take a decision. They should know what to do. Go to the United Nations and force a mark to be placed that Venezuela cannot interfere with. Yeah? So it's not about, you see, the reason why this thing is happening is because we have this lead country that think it own the world, America, don't obey the United Nations. And if America is not obeying the United Nations, other countries feel, okay, we don't have to do that because Netanyahu do it. It is because of the position of America. America don't obey, so we cannot obey. So how do you fix that situation?
Yeah.
Maybe dismantle the United Nations. Dismantle it because it's irrelevant. And so we don't have everybody represent themselves. And when we have a dispute, we must take up arms and fight for our survival. But these bodies are responsible through our local representatives, our government, to take positions to represent us.
Yes.
They are responsible. And I'm saying once again that this thing about the Americans want to put surveillance equipment here, if there will be an attack, the first thing they attack is satellite communication. They can bomb our airport. We have to be very, very careful. I'm saying no. Right? Have a good day, sir.
Yes. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Uh, I want to say I'm in 100% agree with Mr. Batiste. You got to look for the interest of the people. And I like to say again, I'm very much disappointed with Chester Humphrey. I think he's still bleeding and aching over 1983 because he was so disappointed that the Americans knocked away his cushion. And the next thing I want to talk about again is that with that fishing business, long before Trump get into office, with those many governments they had that we saying it's law that is passed and it never went through Congress with the environmental people. I heard the fishermen from Maine was crying long time ago that there was ordering them to have um, surveillance on their ships. They had to pay people to monitor the fishing, to get cameras to give account to the fishing. So they're passing that on to now, and everybody coming back and blaming Trump and saying it's the laws of the US. It's the environment people that they're bowing to that putting those things on them. The next thing is that when the Americans asked Blaze what he wanted after the I'll say the invasion, or not the invasion, but the rescue mission, he said they want nothing. And Blaze is the one that is being known for the miser. Never want to spend, never want to take anything from anybody. So that's my contribution for this morning. Have a great day, my brother.
Yes, after the 83, they had the Caribbean Basin Initiative. After the 83, they had the Caribbean Basin Initiative, and they had opportunity to get a lot of training that they never make maximum use of it. I think Jamaica benefited the most from the training session. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, my brother.
good afternoon to you, sir, and a pleasant afternoon to your listening audience. Mr. Pierre, the fact that people are talking about the movement speaks volumes. The movement is in its infancy stage. We pose no threat to no one. The movement is a collection of dissatisfied, disenchanted, and a large percentage of Grenadians looking for something new. That's more collective, inclusive in its approach. So, Mr. Pierre, this is just an insight into the movement. I know you want to know a lot more, but the movement have learned from people who speaks a lot, have answers for all questions. We are not about to give you any talking points. But Mr. Pierre, this is the other quick point here is what I want to take you to task with. How comfortable are you associating our Prime Minister with the term sugar daddy, especially when you are referencing another meal. You don't find these songs to gauge for our head of state. You think it's a good idea? Can you quantify, your logics in terms of, why you use the term sugar daddy? Have a pleasant afternoon, sir.
Color, if a prime minister go to a foreign country and bring an individual in Grenada and introduce him as the richest man from the country, what do you make of it? If the man is a successful businessman, then maybe you should call the business sector, the Chamber of Commerce, the private sector, to see what opportunities or what benefits that they can, in what way both sides can mutually benefit. You could use that success story to also motivate your people in institutions and secondary school. Because one of the problems we have with the black man in the Caribbean, he is not too interested in investing in things that will make more. So if you have a successful businessman, then even the commodity boards, nutmeg association and etc., and see what opportunities. But if you parade around with the richest man in Africa, with a cameraman taking pictures, and so far, we in Grenada cannot see what contribution, tangible and intangible, that the richest man in Africa have done for you, except to give you 1,000 cricket kits, which you had to report that to the Integrity Commission. You, caller, what do you make of it? I believe this individual performs as a sugar daddy. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre?
Yes, caller.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, caller.
Mr. Pierre, this American and this Venezuelan tax what going on there. This is a money-making thing what going on the ground there, because if it wasn't a money-making thing and you ask the government to do that, the government's supposed to say no. Trinidad nearby Venezuela, why Grenada? That's a money-making thing, Mr. Pierre. We only attacking the wrong side and talking about with Venezuela and America. That money pass. You call a money and then you hear money tax, so you grab it. But with the other country know that is war, so we don't want it. But we know it's war, but it's a money making thing that go on them disappear. Money pass to do this wickedness and that. So while we only they tying up and thinking, we have to stop it. And we don't promoting other party on real FM. We have to stop that tripping with this movement, enjoy it.
Yes, you see, our people have to be educated. Information have to be provided for our people. Leaders must not sneak in on our people. That's what happened to Grenada. Grenada let Deacon come in, and Deacon sold himself as a man with deep pockets. That will last caller. Yes, caller, welcome. Your last caller for the day. Go right ahead. Yes, caller.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Let me turn down my volume here. What with that permission thing? What Grenada has to lose or gain if they say no? We know the School of Medicine provides about 20% of Grenada's employment, and it's an American institution. What the question I'm putting forward to you before I hang up? What Grenada has to lose or gain with their decision, whatever decision they make? What they have to lose again. Goodbye. I'm gonna hang up now and listen.
Yes, over the years, a lot of Grenada and a lot of our leaders in the Caribbean, they speak with forked tongues, and they have a love-hate relationship with the Americans. So when you hear some leaders speak in Grenada, you think they are communist China or Russia that's speaking. Whether it's Mia Motley or Ralph Gonzalez or the others in the Caribbean. Now, most of the economies in the Caribbean are dependent seriously, maybe 60, 70, 80, 90% on the United States of America and Europe. But these leaders in the country makes themselves very hostile against the American. So take, for instance, Grenada. Presently, the St. George's University contribute more than 20% of the GDP. Then we have the sale of passport. A lot of this is gratis to the American. Then we have tourism. We get tourists from Japan, Germany, etc. But when you're dealing with tourism, the United States of America is perhaps the most significant contributor to our tourist market. In addition to that, our people's dreams and aspirations. So whereas the leaders are more left inclined, our people don't want to go in Cuba. They don't want to go in Czechoslovakia. They're not making things to go in China. They don't want to go in Russia. They want to go in the United States of America, England and Canada. While they want to go in the Western countries, our leaders doing as if there is communists. We have we have democracy in Grenada and the Caribbean, and all the Caribbean, you have freedom of the press. Russia don't have freedom of the press. China don't have freedom of the press. Cuba have a number of people in jail over 60 years. None of the Caribbean leaders is calling on Cuba to free or give them a fair trial. When you hear Grenadians speak about Cuba, you think Cuba better than America. There are some people in Cuba living in the 1800s still. Look at Grenada. We boast about Cuba having the best medical health system in the world. That Cuba have the most amount of doctors per capita. That if we don't get Cuban help, the health system here is going to collapse. But the government of Grenada taking on a new hospital project, get an American company. Well, how that makes sense? It means that they blatantly lying for us. We have to stop speak with forked tongues. The Caribbean leaders say they want the Caribbean to be a zone of peace. Then if you want the Caribbean to be a zone of peace, you have to be peacemakers. You cannot pick up your sword and take a side and then you expect to be a broker. Deacon claim he's an interlocutor. What it means, he is a mediator. He want to mediate between United States and Venezuela. He want to make peace between the United States and Venezuela. But Deacon is going to appear biased because he has not openly supported Guyana in the face of the threat Venezuela put towards Guyana. And Guyana is a CARICOM country. And all the Caribbean leaders had to ask loud and clear that the issue between Guyana and Venezuela must be settled in the international court And we do not support any military attack on Guyana. CARICOM should say that loud and clear. And Venezuela would have known CARICOM leader's position. Cuba does keep him on quiet on that because Cuba supporting Venezuela. And Venezuela want to exploit the hesitancy and the reluctancy of leaders in the Caribbean to open Guyana. So what did Guyana do? Guyana joined the Regional Security Service in 2022. Grenada involved in it in 1983. But Guyana joined it in 2022. All of them know Guyana joined it. Who is leading the RSS? The Americans. Who is funding it? The Americans. Who providing the training? The Americans. Who providing the logistics? The Americans. Why you think Guyana joined it? Guyana joined it to make certain that the Americans are involved in any conflict they have with Venezuela. Donald Trump said, and Caribbean leaders ought to have listened to Donald Trump because he's the leader of the United States of America, the most cosmopolitan country in the world, the land of the free and brave, the country in the world that gives black man the most opportunities. No other imperial power provide opportunities for the black man as the United States of America. Donald Trump said, America is the most beat up bully. So everybody cussing America and they're taking advantage of America. He said even America best friends, you don't see cut out US aid. When Grenada leaders beating the chest for America, America damn right. So what do you, I don't know if the United States want to invade Venezuela. I pray and hope that that is not their intention. But it could just be United States is flexing the muscle and show the Caribbean who is boss. You need me. Your economy depends on me. And yet you continue chaffing me. While Grenada was beating the chest, they go to Nigeria for doctors. They dump Cuba. So they're beating the chest for Grenadians, doing as if they're bad and eating humble pie. A gentleman said something and I agree with it. He said Deacon used to live in the country before he come in power. But since he come in power, he visiting Grenada. And we accepting this low, unproductive, disrespectful attitude from the fake we have as a leader. He's a fake. And he has nothing about ideology in him. His main objective is to turn a billionaire. And if Grenada gets screwed in the process, Grenada gets screwed. Deacon is going to make the decision where he benefits in his interest. And we're back with you again tomorrow. And we continue with these topics because 1 hour is a very short time to do justice. If there is any question I didn't answer, remind me tomorrow. I'll surely do it. Remember to subscribe to Real FM, like our program, and share our program. Thank you very much.
Turn it up.